The camera slowly drifts over the misty hills of Virgin River. The soft sound of rushing water blends with the cry of a newborn baby. A gentle female voice begins to speak, filled with emotion and warmth. In the quiet corners of Virgin River, every sunrise brings new hope. But this time for Mel and Jack, it also brings a new heartbeat, small, fragile, and full of dreams. The music swells as the light of dawn spills over the town. A glimpse of Mel's tired but joyful smile fades into Jack's eyes filled with pride. Yet behind their happiness, something deeper stirs. The fear of what tomorrow might bring. The story opens in the cozy cabin that has witnessed every moment of Mel and Jack's love. Their laughter, their fights, and their promises. Morning sunlight slips through the window, falling softly on Mel's face as she cradles her baby. Her eyes are heavy with exhaustion, but her heart is at peace. The room is quiet except for the soft cooing of the baby, a tiny reminder that life in Virgin River has changed forever. Jack enters, carrying a warm cup of tea, his eyes filled with love and wonder. He sits beside Mel, careful not to wake the baby. "I still can't believe she's here," he whispers, his voice trembling with emotion. Mel smiles faintly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I can't either. It feels like we've waited forever for this moment." Their words carry the weight of everything they've been through, heartbreak, loss, and endless hope that led them here. Outside, the town is waking up. Hope's Diner opens its doors. The smell of fresh coffee fills the air, and Doc walks down the street nodding at familiar faces. Life moves on, just as it always has in Virgin River. But for Mel and Jack, everything feels new, fragile, yet full of possibility. As Mel gently rocks her baby, she thinks about how far they've come. She remembers the night she almost gave up, the moments when love felt like too much to fight for. But now, looking into her daughter's tiny face, she feels a promise forming in her heart, a promise to protect this new life no matter what it takes. Jack places his hand on Mel's shoulder. "You did it," he says softly. "You brought her into this world." Mel looks up at him, her eyes glistening. "No," she says, "we did it." That small exchange carries the weight of everything, and their shared pain, their strength, and their bond that keeps growing stronger. But outside the cabin, the camera pans to the edge of the forest. A figure stands half hidden among the trees, watching the cabin quietly. The sound of leaves rustling in the breeze fills the air. The figure doesn't move, doesn't speak, just watches. The peace that Mel and Jack finally found seems perfect, almost too perfect. And deep down, the stillness of Virgin River feels like the calm before the storm. The section closes with a shot of Mel holding her baby close, her eyes full of love and quiet fear. The screen fades to black as the narrator's voice returns. In Virgin River, every new beginning comes with its shadows, and love is never simple. Night falls over Virgin River, painting the sky in deep shades of blue. The town, once alive with laughter and music from the local bar, now rests in peaceful silence. But peace in Virgin River is never what it seems. Behind the soft glow of porch lights and the hum of crickets, something stirs. A whisper that carries memories better left forgotten. Mel sits by the window, rocking her baby to sleep. The fire crackles softly, casting a warm light across the room. Outside, the wind moves through the trees, carrying with it the faint scent of rain. For a moment, everything feels calm. Then a sound, faint but sharp, breaks through the night. A twig snapping, footsteps fading quickly into the dark. Mel looks up, her heartbeat quickening. Jack is asleep on the couch, unaware. She steps closer to the window, but there's nothing there. Only the forest, still and quiet, as if it's holding its breath. The next morning, Jack wakes to find Mel standing outside, staring at the edge of the woods. Her face is pale, her arms folded tightly around herself. "I heard something last night," she says. "Someone was out there." Jack tries to brush it off, or maybe it was an animal, maybe the wind. But the unease in her eyes tells him this isn't just her imagination. The past has a way of following them, and in Virgin River, the past always finds its way home. At the diner, the townsfolk gather, whispering about new faces seen near the river. Hope, never one to hide her curiosity, leans across the counter and says, "Someone's been asking about Jack, a stranger, didn't give a name." Doc frowns, glancing out the window. "This town's too small for strangers with secrets," he mutters. The news spreads quickly like ripples in calm water. Back at the cabin, Jack is repairing the fence when he notices footprints, fresh, leading toward the trees. His expression hardens. He's been here before, haunted by mistakes that refuse to stay buried. He doesn't tell Mel, not yet. She deserves peace, at least for a little while. But that night, as he watches her sleep beside their daughter, he feels the weight of something returning, something he thought he'd left behind. Meanwhile, the mysterious figure reappears, walking along the misty edge of the river. The camera follows from behind, only catching glimpses. A hand brushing against a tree, the crunch of boots on gravel, the faint glimmer of a silver ring under the moonlight. The figure pauses, looking toward the cabin. Then a quiet voice, barely audible, whispers, "It's time." Back inside, Mel wakes suddenly, her breath short. She doesn't know why, but she feels it. That strange sense when something shifts, when life takes a turn you can't see coming. She looks down at her baby, who's now peacefully asleep, and whispers, "You're safe, I promise." But promises in Virgin River are fragile things, easily broken by the echoes of the past. As dawn breaks, the camera pans over the forest once more. The fog thickens, hiding the trails and footprints that lead toward the town. The narrator's voice returns, steady and low. In Virgin River, every story has a past, and every past leaves a mark. Some marks never fade. They only wait for the right moment to return. Morning light spills across Virgin River, gentle and golden, touching every rooftop and leaf. The town looks peaceful again, but peace here is only the mask that hides what's waiting beneath. A soft fog curls over the water as a man stands alone at the river's edge. His reflection ripples and breaks with every small wave. His face is unseen, shadowed by a worn hat, but his posture carries a story, one heavy with regret. At the cabin, Mel is preparing breakfast. The baby's laughter fills the air, and for a brief moment it feels like happiness has returned to stay. Jack hums quietly while fixing a loose cabinet hinge, pretending everything is fine. But his eyes betray him, sharp, restless, scanning every sound from outside. He's been feeling it for days now, that someone is near. The woods don't feel empty anymore. Later that afternoon, Jack drives into town to deliver supplies. As he steps out of the truck, he notices a man sitting alone on the bench near the general store. There's something familiar about the shape of his shoulders, the way he keeps his head low. Jack freezes for a second, the world around him going quiet. When the man finally looks up, their eyes meet. A flash of recognition, sharp as lightning. Jack's jaw tightens. The man gives a small nod, then walks away without a word. Back at the bar, Jack can't shake the feeling. He pours himself a drink but doesn't take a sip. Preacher notices. "You've seen a ghost, man?" He jokes, but Jack doesn't smile. "Something like that," he answers, his voice low. "Someone I thought I'd never see again." The air between them grows heavy. Jack doesn't explain further, but the look in his eyes says enough. As evening falls, Mel takes a walk with the baby stroller near the river. The sunlight dances on the water, soft and golden. She stops for a moment, lost in thought. That's when she feels it. That strange stillness again, the kind that makes your heart beat louder in your ears. She turns slowly. Across the river, half hidden by the fog, stands the same man Jack saw. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, just watches. Mel's breath catches. Something about him feels familiar, though she can't place it. He's not a stranger, not completely. She grips the stroller tighter and hurries home, the unease following her like a shadow. When Jack returns that night, she tells him what she saw. The color drains from his face. "It's him," he says quietly. "His name's Caleb. We served together years ago. I thought he was gone." Mel's voice trembles. "What does he want?" Jack looks out the window toward the dark forest. If Caleb's here, it's not by accident. Outside, the camera follows Caleb as he walks through the fog toward the heart of Virgin River. He passes the welcome sign, his hand brushing against the wood. His eyes, filled with quiet sadness, lift toward the lights glowing in the distance. "I should have told him the truth," he murmurs, "before it's too late." The narrator's voice returns, soft and haunting. Every town has a stranger. Every heart has a secret, and sometimes the two find each other when the past can no longer stay buried. The screen fades to black with the faint sound of the baby crying, echoing through the night, mingling with the whisper of the river. Rain falls softly over Virgin River, wrapping the town in a quiet gray haze. The sky feels heavy as if it knows what's about to happen. Inside the cabin, the sound of raindrops mixes with the faint cry of the baby. Mel rocks her daughter gently, her thoughts far away. She can sense it. Something in Jack has changed. His silence, his glances toward the woods, the way he wakes up in the middle of the night as if chased by ghosts. She knows he's hiding something. Jack stands at the edge of the porch, rain dripping from his jacket. His eyes search the tree line where Caleb disappeared hours ago. The air feels thick with unfinished stories. When he finally turns back toward the door, Mel is there watching him. "How long were you going to keep it from me?" she asks quietly. Jack doesn't answer right away. He looks down, his hands tightening into fists. "I didn't want this to touch you," he says. "Or her." He nods toward the sleeping baby. Mel steps closer. "Jack, you can't protect us from something you don't face." Her voice trembles, but her eyes are steady. "Who is he really?" Jack's voice is low when he finally speaks. "Caleb was part of my unit. We lost people, but not all of them stayed gone. He blames me for something I couldn't control." He pauses, struggling with the memory, and now he's come to make me remember. The wind howls outside as thunder rolls across the valley. The lights flicker, then go out, leaving the cabin in shadow. For a moment, all is silent. Then a knock at the door. 3 sharp knocks echoing like the heartbeat of the storm. Jack moves slowly toward it. Mel's breath catches as the door creaks open. There stands Caleb, soaked from the rain, his expression unreadable. He looks older, worn down by time and guilt. "We need to talk," he says quietly. Jack hesitates, but Mel steps aside. "Come in," she whispers. The room feels smaller now, filled with tension and memories that refuse to stay buried. Caleb removes his hat, his hands trembling slightly. "You left me," he says, eyes locked on Jack. "You left me there, and now you have everything and a home, a family, while I had nothing but nightmares." Jack's voice cracks. "You don't know what it was like. I thought you were gone." Caleb's face hardens. "But I wasn't. And I need you to hear what really happened that night." As he speaks, flashes of the past fill the screen. Fire, chaos, shouting, the sound of gunfire, the weight of loss. The truth unfolds like a wound reopening. It wasn't Jack's fault, but the guilt has lived in him ever since. Caleb lowers his head, his anger fading into exhaustion. "I came here to see if you remembered, and to forgive you," he says softly. Mel reaches out, placing a hand on Caleb's arm. "The past can hurt," she says gently, "but it doesn't have to live here anymore." For a long moment, the 3 of them stand in silence, the storm outside slowly easing. The rain softens, the thunder fades, and a pale light begins to break through the clouds. Later, the camera follows Mel as she steps outside with the baby in her arms. The river glows with morning light, calm once more. She whispers, "Maybe peace was never about forgetting. Maybe it's about forgiving what we can't change." Jack joins her, wrapping his arm around her shoulder. For the first time in days, he smiles. Tired, but real. The narrator's voice returns one last time. "In Virgin River, the past will always find you. But love, real love, gives you the strength to face it. And sometimes healing begins where the hurt once lived." The screen fades to the sound of the river flowing, the baby's soft laughter echoing in the distance. And the title appears, Virgin River, Season 7, Love, Loss, and the Courage to Begin Again. Morning comes quietly to Virgin River, as if the whole town is exhaling after holding its breath for too long. The storm has passed, but its echoes still linger. In the puddles glimmering under the rising sun, in the wet leaves clinging to the trees, and in the faces of those who weathered it. Inside the cabin, Mel stands by the window, the soft golden light brushing across her face. The baby sleeps peacefully in her arms, her tiny chest rising and falling with the rhythm of a new day. Jack steps onto the porch, breathing in the cold, clean air. The forest smells different now, washed, renewed. For the first time in months, he feels a strange stillness inside him, not the heavy kind that comes with guilt, but the kind that feels like healing. Caleb left before dawn, leaving only a note on the porch. "We all carry ghosts. Jack, but some ghosts are just waiting to say goodbye." Jack reads it once, then folds it carefully as if afraid the words might disappear. Inside, Mel moves through the cabin with quiet grace. There's something different about her too. She's seen the pain Jack tried to bury. felt the fear of losing everything, and yet through it all, her love has only grown deeper. She looks at Jack as he steps back inside, and in that moment, no words are needed. The silence between them says everything: forgiveness, understanding, and the unspoken promise to start again. Later that day, the couple walks down to the river, the same place where everything began, where the stranger once stood, where fear once lived. The water glimmers softly, carrying the reflection of the sky. Jack skips a stone across the surface, watching it bounce before sinking beneath the ripples. "Feels like it's over," he says. Mel shakes her head gently. "Maybe not over," she replies. "Maybe it's just beginning, but different this time." They sit by the water's edge, the baby resting between them in her little basket. The town bell rings faintly in the distance, calling life back to its routine. Hope opening her diner, Doc checking on patients, laughter spilling from the porch of the general store. Virgin River lives on, as it always has, steady and unchanging in its beauty and its secrets. As evening returns, Mel and Jack light a small fire outside. The sky burns orange and pink, melting into twilight. Jack holds Mel close, his chin resting on her shoulder. "You know," he says softly, "I used to think peace was about forgetting everything that hurt." Mel smiles, her eyes glistening in the firelight. "And now?" she asks. Jack looks toward the river, the flames reflecting in his eyes. "Now I think peace is remembering it all and choosing to love anyway." The baby stirs, letting out a soft sigh, and both parents look down at her. The world feels still again, not empty but full of the quiet strength that comes after pain. The camera pulls back slowly, capturing the small family surrounded by the wild beauty of Virgin River, the river flowing gently beside them, the stars just beginning to appear above. The narrator's voice returns one last time, gentle and steady. "In Virgin River, every storm leaves behind a story. Every heartbreak makes room for hope, and when the river runs quiet, love finds its way back home." The screen fades to black, leaving only the sound of the river and the faint cry of a baby blending with the night. Then the final words appear in white letters across the dark screen. Virgin River Season 7, the story of love, forgiveness, and the courage to begin again. The sun dips low behind the mountains of Virgin River, painting the sky in soft amber and violet. The town glows quietly beneath it, a small beating heart surrounded by endless wilderness. Life, once filled with chaos and fear, now moves with a slower rhythm, like the steady current of the river itself. But in Virgin River, peace never means the end. It only means a new beginning waiting to be written. Mel stands outside the cabin, holding her daughter against her chest. The baby's tiny hand rests over Mel's heart, her touch soft and full of innocence. Mel looks out at the fading light, her thoughts a quiet mixture of gratitude and uncertainty. So much has changed. Love found, pain faced, truths uncovered. But deep down she knows this is not the end of their story. The river always flows forward, and with it comes the promise of something new. Inside, Jack is finishing a letter. His handwriting is rough, uneven, but honest. He pauses for a moment, staring at the last line before signing his name. The letter is for Caleb, a man who came as a ghost and left as a reminder. Jack folds it carefully and sets it beside his old military photo. The camera lingers on it for a moment, a silent symbol of peace finally made. Later, as the moon rises high, the town begins to come alive again. At the diner, Hope and Doc share a quiet meal, their laughter echoing softly through the window. Preacher locks up the bar, glancing up at the stars before heading home. Bree walks down the bridge, her eyes following the reflection of the moon on the water. Every soul in Virgin River carries a story, and tonight, those stories feel connected, threads of love, pain, and second chances woven together beneath the same sky. Mel joins Jack by the porch fire, the glow painting their faces in gold and warmth. He looks at her, smiling in that quiet way that says everything without words. "You ever think about what's next?" he asks. Mel tilts her head, the flames flickering in her eyes. "Every day," she says softly, "but I've stopped trying to plan it. The river doesn't ask where it's going, it just moves." Jack chuckles, his arm wrapping around her shoulder. "Then I guess we'll move with it." A soft breeze moves through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and rain. The camera pans upward, showing the river stretching endlessly toward the horizon, calm, glimmering, infinite. The faint sound of a lullaby hums in the background as Mel whispers to her baby, No matter where this river takes us, you'll always have a home. Night returns to Virgin River one last time, soft and still, wrapping the town in silver light. The gentle hum of crickets fills the air, blending with the quiet rhythm of the flowing river. The world feels calm again, but not the same. It's the kind of calm that comes after a storm, the kind that carries scars, lessons, and quiet strength. The camera drifts through the heart of the town, past the glowing windows of Hope's Diner, where laughter and stories warm the night, past Doc's clinic where the lights are still on, proof that care in this town never rests. And finally down to the cabin by the river where Mel and Jack's story began anew. Inside, the fire has burned low, casting soft golden light across their faces. Mel hums softly to the baby, her voice barely above a whisper, a song without words but full of love. Jack sits beside her, his arm resting gently behind her, watching their daughter drift into sleep. His eyes are tired but peaceful, the kind of peace that only comes when you've made it through everything you thought you couldn't. Mel glances at him and smiles. "You ever wonder," she says quietly, "how we ended up here? After everything?" Jack nods slowly, his voice deep and calm. "Every day. But I think maybe we didn't end up here. Maybe we fought our way here." Her smile grows, her eyes softening. Then it was worth every step. Outside, the river glows under the moonlight, a mirror of their journey, winding, unpredictable, but endlessly moving forward. A gentle breeze carries the sound of the water through the trees, as if the river itself is whispering their story back to them. As the camera pans higher, showing the valley bathed in silver mist, the narrator's voice returns, steady, reflective, filled with quiet awe. In Virgin River, love isn't perfect. It's messy, fragile, and sometimes painful, but it endures. Through every storm, through every loss, it finds a way to stay. Because here, love isn't just something you feel, it's something you choose, again and again. The screen fades slowly to black. Then the faint sound of the baby's laugh breaks the silence, pure and hopeful. The music swells, tender and cinematic, as white letters appear on the dark screen. Virgin River Season 7. Love flows on. A few seconds pass before one final scene fades in. A wide shot of the river at sunrise. The water glows gold. The sky blushes with light, and in the distance, Mel, Jack, and their baby walk along the riverbank, silhouettes against the dawn.